We'll start off by going through our 10 infinitives that we're going to use today, or to-do words is another way of saying infinitive. So to play, to see. Don't worry if you don't remember them all straight away, as you'll pick them up as we go through the lesson. So hablar is to speak or to talk. Hablar, hablar. And you can try and remember this by thinking of blah, 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 blah. To speak. Practicar, to practice, an easy one to remember. Practicar, practicar. Usar, to use. And again, fairly easy to remember because it's similar to use. Usar. Bailar. Bailar is to dance. Bailar, to dance. Pagar is to pay. Pagar. Pagar, to pay. Not too tricky to remember that one. Visitar. Visitar is to visit. Visitar. Notice that the V is pronounced like the letter B. Visitar, to visit. Trabajar. Trabajar is to work. Trabajar. Trabajar. And our next one is to finish, to terminate. Terminar. Terminar. So terminar. Terminar is to finish. Ayudar. Ayudar is to help. Ayudar, to help. And finally, to recycle is reciclar. Reciclar, to recycle. Reciclar. And you'll notice that all of these end in AR. Hablar, practicar, usar, bailar, pagar, visitar, trabajar, terminar, ayudar, reciclar. They all end in AR. And in Spanish, infinitives, the to-do verbs, either finish in AR, ER, or IR. And AR is the biggest group, the most common group. And that's why we're focusing on that one today. If we want to change to speak into you speak, or the question do you speak, which is the same in Spanish, so do you speak or you speak, it's fairly straightforward. All we do is we take off the R and add an S. So instead of hablar, it's hablas. Hablas. Just notice that the emphasis, the stress, is not on the end now, but on the second from last syllable. So it's hablas. Hablas. So hablas is you speak, or as a question, do you speak? For example, ¿hablas español? ¿Hablas español? Do you speak Spanish? So let's take another example. To work is trabajar. Trabajar. So how will we change that to do you work or you work? We take the R off and add an S. Trabajas. Trabajas. Trabajas, the question, do you work? Trabajas. Let's take another one. To recycle is reciclar. Reciclar. So do you recycle or you recycle is reciclas. Reciclas. Okay, so we'll practice these in a second, but first of all we're going to add a few extra words so we can make some meaningful questions with these words. So let's start off by including the word Spanish, which is español, español. And then let's include at home. And at home is just in house, at home. En casa, en casa, en casa, at home. And we'll add with him, con él, con él. With her would be con ella, but we'll just use con él for the moment, con él, with him. And to say online in Spanish, we can use the same term, slightly different pronunciation, online, online. And then mucho, a lot, mucho, mucho. Okay, so start off with a straightforward one. How would you say, do you speak Spanish? ¿Hablas español? ¿Hablas español? How would you say, do you practice at home? Do you practice at home? ¿Practicas en casa? ¿Practicas en casa? And I should mention, if you want more time to work out your answer, then just pause the video. So, ¿practicas en casa? Do you practice at home? And still using at home, how would you say, do you work at home? Do you work at home? ¿Trabajas en casa? ¿Trabajas en casa? And how would you say, do you work online? Do you work online? ¿Trabajas online? ¿Trabajas online? How about, do you dance with him? Do you dance with him? What would that be? ¿Bailas con él? ¿Bailas con él? ¿Bailas con él? And how would you say, do you visit much? Do you visit much? ¿Visitas mucho? ¿Visitas mucho? Now, if we want to change these verbs to I do something, so at the moment we know to do ends in AR, hablar, practicar, usar, etc. We know that you or do you is AS. Hablas, practicas, usas, bailas, pagas, etc. And if you want to say I do any of these things, we take off the AR from our original verb and we add an O. So I speak will be hablo, hablo. I speak Spanish, hablo español, hablo español. How would you say, I visit, I visit? Visito, visito, visito. What about, I work? Trabajo, trabajo, trabajo. How about I finish? Or I terminate, I finish. Termino, termino, termino. So you could say, termino pronto. I finish early. Termino pronto. So let's use the extra words that we used with our do you questions and have a practice of saying I do these things. So we had español en casa, con él, online, and mucho. So how would you say I practice at home? I practice at home. Practico en casa. Practico en casa. How about I practice a lot? Practico mucho. Practico mucho. How about I pay online? How would you say I pay online? Pago online. Pago online. How about I help at home? I help at home. Ayudo en casa. Ayudo en casa. Let's just add in at this point no at the beginning. No. So for all of these we can say I don't speak. I don't work. I don't pay. Just by adding no. No hablo español. I don't speak Spanish. No hablo español. How would you say I don't visit much? I don't visit much. No visito mucho. No visito mucho. How about I don't work at home? I don't work at home. No trabajo en casa. No trabajo en casa. How about I don't recycle much? I don't recycle much. No reciclo mucho. No reciclo mucho. How about I don't dance with him? I don't dance with him. No bailo con él. No bailo con él. And how about I don't help at home? I don't help at home. And actually, let's say I don't help at home much. I don't help at home much. No ayudo en casa mucho. No ayudo en casa mucho.